Answer.
I
I'm interested. We didn't talk about this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's my first World Cup when I'm after like properly watching football. Because the last World Cup I was just a casual watcher. So I honestly have no idea who I'm going to support this World Cup.
Go, 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 go. It's time for Canada. Viva Mexico! USA! USA! World Cup 2026!
I would say Spain, maybe.
Egypt has my heart when it comes to international, and I was born and raised in the UK, so I'm also an England supporter. When they play, I'll have their backs as well.
So if England were to play Egypt,
They did, and I went to the match. A good,
1990?
yeah, yes, well remembered. So they did, and I was on the Egypt supporter side only because the tickets were cheaper. And obviously I went with my dad, so that was, God rest his soul, that was a lovely experience that we had.
remind me, the game ended 1-0 for England. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it wasn't even it wasn't 90s, I'm sure. It was late 90s, I think.
Late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, because I remember my daughter was born. So I think it was a friendly, but England did win.
I was gonna say Brazil, but I don't like Vinicius and I don't like Richardson. I don't like Bruno Guimaraes. Like the players now are getting more dirty. It's not like the Neymar Brazil. It's not like at least even the Brazil before the Ronaldinho's. Yeah, exactly. I would have said Brazil, at least 2014 and before. But the new Brazil, I can't say. But a likable team. The new Brazil, they're not great.
It's definitely not an attractive World Cup, and part of me is like, my heart wants to watch it because for the love of the game, but my mind and my political stance does not want to watch it.
To the World Cup. Yeah. Even though it's a bit, you know what I mean, with America and stuff like that, I'd still want to be in that environment, right?
So I think it should be everywhere. I think, especially seeing what happened with Qatar last time, how much heat they got for certain things, whatever.
Well, they got for the alcohol, really. That's what they.
Other things from the West sides, I think that you should have countries that are amazingly massive football fans like the UK and whatever. We should also have places like Renaults in Japan and Korea. They're not massive in football. Korea more than Japan, but it's a way of spreading the game. And I think US is such a driving force of like Western media and everything. You should have it there. And I don't believe you should deserve to have the World Cup. I think the World Cup should try to be in as many places as possible.
I think that's a very noble and.
You can apply that to everywhere. If you ask me specifically about the US in a different realm, and I think there's a lot for them to gain from the World Cup. Is there a lot for football to gain from America hosting it?
Football has always been money driven. We need to remember the fact that it's a business still. They've got the merchandise, the match, the shirts, the tickets, the everything. Everything that comes with football is money driven, and we've got to pay these players. So it's not nothing new. It's just the fact that now, with the resale of tickets and social media, it's just a bit more aware. People are a bit more aware of it.
The price of those tickets, extortionate for this specific World Cup. There was news about it last year and there's news about it this year. But they're selling the tickets. So for the people that have the money to go and watch it, all be to them, and let them go and watch the game. But for people like us, or me, I don't know, but for people like us, you have then these environments where people go to fan zones instead, and they create their own environment and watch the game together.
For me, for now, it's very hard to get tickets. I've heard a lot of people saying that a lot of the hotels are empty around the stadiums during game time. If they don't show up for the game, they don't show up for the tournament, as in fans. I think it's going to be a massive disappointment.
Speaking of the fans at the World Cup tournament, given the ticket prices, is there going to be much of an atmosphere, you think, or is it more just to be seen?
I think you'd be surprised how much people can afford to get to a World Cup. I think if it was every year, yes, it's too expensive. But I think people are going to make bad financial decisions to be there.
Oh, really? But okay, so it's not about them saving up for it. It's just that this is a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, especially people that are on that side of the world. You know, even if you look at like, I don't know, even like Arab teams who, like people that lived over there, you know, I know there's definitely going to be loads. Any Algerian who can get a visa is going to be there. Any Moroccan who can get a visa, it's easier for them, is going to be at the World Cup.
When it's all business, the football side, doesn't it damage the community?
100%. 100%. Of course it does. And I think this is what people are forgetting. Like with Arteta, and a lot of people will say probably I'm biased with what I'm going to say here because I'm an Arsenal supporter, but I do genuinely believe with Arsenal, we home grow them. So whereas all of these new fans are like, let's buy this player, but that's never been Arsenal's motto. We have Hale End. We've raised our own, whether it's Nweri, whether it's whether it's Saka, all of these, Lewis Skelly, they're homegrown.
If you ask me about people injecting money into a club, you should just ask me about Chelsea because I hate them.
I would say like take the mic and talk.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. So it's funny because they took Ashley Cole, and then they just kept on taking.
Maybe passion has gone a little bit because, like I was saying, a lot of people, I'm not saying in the Arsenal stadium, but just in general, we have the term plastic fans, so a lot of them are glory hunters. A lot of them, like I said, 20 years ago, no, I'm going to go over 30 years ago when I was in secondary school, we had one Chelsea supporter. I didn't even know Man City existed. It was either Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Yeah, these are the teams that we were talking about. Now all of a sudden we've got Man City and they're talking about history. What history?
I always say I have a lot of respect for even Spurs and Manchester United because they're a result of their own success. And I think that Chelsea, now they're seeing what happens when you dance with the devil. And I think I'm interested to see what happens with Newcastle. I think they entered the chat at the wrong time because you can't really do we're going to buy everyone kind of thing. So from a personal perspective, I think it took away a lot of joy and success from what Arsenal were just about to have. And I think you can't let that go if you don't doubt the way that the business model is working, how it's unfair for other people. But also football's a money game.
Football is a money game.
Yeah, so if I was a Chelsea fan, maybe I'd feel differently. Or maybe if someone came and bought Arsenal, not now, but 10 years ago and injected loads of money, I would have felt different. But yeah.
We raise them and we make them into the football players that we want them to be. And then we get them to play for us, get them to wear that shirt with pride, get them for us to be the first team that's their everything. And then the business comes in because then we sell them for the big money.
It's not about the right strategy. Just do the strategy.
It's good advice. We'll use that.
Go, 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 go. It's time for Canada. Viva México! USA! USA! World Cup 2026!